My question revolves around interacting with other people who are coming from a position of a lot of fear. And if you could comment on how to approach that or deal with that. So when you're having an experience with someone who's, I want to know your comments on how to approach dealing with someone who is coming from a position of a lot of fear.
How do you approach it?
Well, the reason why I'm asking the question is because you don't, from my perspective, I don't want to necessarily agree with what they're saying, because you've taught me well to be careful with your words, and it's not right. I don't want to attract what they're saying, and I don't necessarily agree with it. But on the same token, they can't necessarily hear, because they're not ready for it or in a position to hear it, what the truth might be, right? There's too big of a gap. So that's the nature of my question, is how do you kind of bridge that in between? If I'm all the way over here with, well, this is the truth, and they're all the way over here with, I can't even see it.
Oftentimes for humans, the reaction that you have when encountering other people who are resonating the fear, anxiety, judgment from their thoughts, the lower energy frequencies, the answer that may serve you, understanding that your question then is broad and must be put into practical terms on how it can be applied, understanding that each human will communicate their resistance to an idea, or their resistance to what you're saying, or resistance to the information that you have at various different levels, and they will communicate that resistance in a plethora of ways. And understanding that, then the first answer is to first, when you are encountering a rendezvous, an interaction with another human that you are observing may be operating at a different frequency, maybe operating with more fear than you are operating with, the first recommendation is for you to energetically remind yourself that the proper way to respond would only be able to come from the energetic frequency of love. Once you remind yourself, because it is difficult for humans to grab clarity when they are being empathetic or resonating in any way with the chaos that ensues from another sphere. And fear often comes with chaotic thoughts. So clarity on the appropriate thing to say and do is never going to come with you resonating even remotely with their fear. And here is where, as Michelle was talking about earlier, that is where the struggle is, because the human tendency is to be right. But we have already said there is no right and wrong. So the proper answer then must come from the vibration, the energy of unconditional love. And when you can reorient yourself, when you are encountering the energy of fear, understand that it's going to try to resonate with you a little bit, because you are all telepathic with each other. So that is normal and that is natural. But when you start to feel that resonance, the very first thing you need to do, what I have said, is stop that resonance and remind yourself, get yourself to stand firmly in the energy where you are authentically resonating with your power source, which is the energy of all that is, with that unconditional love. And once you have centered yourself in that energy, you will find it very easy, situation to situation to situation to situation, because each of them are going to be so different, for you to be more allowing. You will not see a wrongness in where they're standing or what they're saying. You will also not need to feel the need to be in the place of rightness. with them as well. And so you will be able to more effectively communicate by asking questions instead of statements. There are times when she can remember, to be very honest, Michelle is not always able to remember because sometimes she gets caught in other people's resonances, frequencies, people who are vibrating at different levels than she is, you see. But at those times when she can remember to reaffirm her vibrational stance that is in alignment with her power, with the power that connects her in oneness to all that is and everyone else here, she finds that the conversation is able to go more easily with questions. Do you think? Is it possible? It's a gentle way of navigating them away from the chaos in love, you see, because your vibrational stance is solid. Whereas the person who is experiencing fear in the conversation, they are the opposite. They are not solid. They are blowing like a candle in the wind, and their thoughts are so chaotic that your energy will be grounding in that conversation. Do you understand? And when you ground your vibration, they too are telepathic. It will be easier to have that conversation with them. But first, you must ground yourself in your own vibration. Because you're all telepathic, it's very difficult when someone else is experiencing anxiety or fear. But if you can, and again, this is practice, the more you do it, the more second nature it will become. But that, of course, is the answer for any particular situation. And the clarity will come, because clarity comes from the grounding of that vibration. You will know what to say and when to say it and how to say it. It is a very large belief system here on this planet of right and wrong. And that's what makes it difficult to interact with someone who's operating at a different vibrational frequency. This is why if you ground yourself first, the necessity to be right is going to vanish with that ground.